Welcome back, folks. We're carrying on from earlier, and our trading screen, or trading widget, sorry. And here's exactly what it looks like. We are going to have to wait just a second till these get filled in, and then we shall take it from there. So, let's wait until it gets filled in. Should be any second now. There we go. We can see the values now. And if we press the button, you can see we have values on the ship. Now, these buttons don't do anything yet, so we are basically going to have to set them up. So let's stop that. Now this board image is actually just an image, so we want to wrap it with a button, and similarly we can wrap this with a button, and we are basically going to set this to transparent and this to transparent. And now you'll see that when we run this, so fundamentally this button is going to be button buy, and this one is going to be button sell, if we can type it correctly, button sell. Okay, so now that we have our buttons, we can basically button buy. We can check this out on clicked, and button sell similarly. But the main thing here in trading main is this canvas panel. We're gonna, on the X, we're going to bring it away from the edge just a tad, so let's call that 1.2. That should do us. Okay, so once we've done that, let's go back into our trading line and do something simple, and we'll say print string and then this is going to be E item, then into here, and for the purposes of getting this started, we shall just plug this in here and in here. So that's going to be a save. Okay, so we can hit our button, And there's our new thing. And our new thing. So that is perfectly acceptable for what we've done so far. So this is going to be paste that, and we're going to keep that there. We're going to plug that in there, except we're going to change that in a minute because that's not right. Right? So we're going to spread these out a bit, and we're going to move these. So we're going to cut and paste that. And we're going to actually, what we're going to do is append that, but we know it's working anyway, so we don't even really need to do that. Now, here is the design issue here. What we need to do is, let's have a look at it and let's work out the issue that we might have. I'm going to let it fill up first. So we've got to wait on our rocket taking off. So once our rocket takes off, we should get new values refreshed in here. And that gives us something to work with. Okay. So let's have a look and see. Yep, we've got values now. So what we can do is hit 5. And this brings up our resupply ship. We do need to do a bit of padding. But anyway, so we have these things here, which is fine. So let's do something very, very simple, right? What I think we're going to need to do is we're going to need to swap out things here in the way we do things. We're going to have in our controller we're going to have to add a variable, right? And it's going to have to be called space credits, right? And it's going to be an integer. Now guys, if you guys have got a better idea for a name other than space credits, let me know in the chat. First thing that came to mind there. So what have we got now? We have space credits. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to make all of our items worth something. So fundamentally what we're going to have to do is go into recipes, then go into items, and then we're going to have a value, and that's going to have to be an integer as well, right? So once we've done that, we can open up our DT items, and then we can give our stuff a value. So let's say bauxite is worth 1, iron ore is worth 2, copper ore is worth 1. Actually, you know what? Iron ore should be worth 1 as well. And copper ore should be worth 1. Then iron sheet will say 2. And copper sheet will say 2. Then we shall say a widget is worth 3. I know these aren't exactly very sexy numbers at the moment, but hey ho. Say copper wire. Well, that's set to not tradable. So we'll set that to is tradable, and we'll give that a value of 3. Okay, now these are tradable, and let's say a new thing is worth 10. Okay. So now that we've got some values there, what we can do is save that, and then we can go back into, I don't know why I closed them down actually, to be fair. We can go back into trading and go back into trading line, right? And then we'll go into our graph, and if they click button sell, okay, what we'll do is we shall get a controller space credits, okay, and then we'll do a plus, and then we have to set the space credits. So we set space credits. I don't know what it is, but today I've been really off the game, off the programming. I've just not been on it at all. I've been quite slow. Right, so anyway, space credits basically becomes space credits plus 1. But it's not, because what we need to do is get our E item, right? And then we need to do a, do we need to do this? Yes, we probably do. So we're not going to do that yet. We probably want to set the price in here. So let's do that, right? Price, and that's going to be an integer. We'll leave that as is for the moment, right? We'll worry about that later. What we'll do is we need a function, right? And it's going to be return product price. And it's going to take in product, and that's going to be an E item, and then it's going to output a price. And that will be an integer. Okay. So we're going to do a for each with break. Then we're going to do data table, get data table row names, and this is going to be DT items. Then this is going to go in here. This will go up a bit to here. Then data table row, and we shall pass, so that's data DT items, and then we're basically going to get our out row, right, and we're going to break it, then we're going to say item equals enum, and then that enum is going to come from over here, so we'll move that, then bring that to here. Then what we'll do is we'll move these up into position, and that is done. Then we've got a branch off here. So we can move this over a bit, move this over a bit. And we can look at this, go to here. If it's true, we go to the return node, and we get the value. Hey Jess, please, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm just adding new variables I have to use now. I don't know the last time you watched, but if you let me know. So you've got a different name, have you? Right, you see, because I'm old and forget these things. Right, so we need to straighten the connection here. So what we're doing here is we've got a function that gets us a price of a product, right? And we're using it in here. So we're going to have to return the price of the product. And we multiply it tomorrow I'll be online tomorrow, probably anywhere between 10 AM 12 AM, or it could be earlier, don't know, just depends whenever something wakes me up. Usually when something wakes me up, doesn't matter what time, after about 7 o'clock then I get up. So anyway, we're going to leave this open to a bit of change And what we're going to do here is multiply this. So it's going to be int times int. So we're going to multiply this by the output of this. We're just assuming it's going to be selling 1 at the moment. What's that going to be in UK time? Any time between 1 and 5. Sounds about right. So what we're doing here is we are going to, this is button sell, right? So this isn't going to remove the product yet, but we're going to do that in a second. Okay. I'll message you. I'll message you tomorrow, Jess. Right, so anyway, what's happening here is we're going to write another function, right? And this function is going to remove product from inventory. Okay, I shall speak to you tomorrow. So we're going to need 2 variables coming in here. So it's going to be once again the product, which is going to be an e-item here, being I'm creating a resupply buy and sell. You'll see here I'm using an e-item, which is a new enumerator that I made. So I'll give you, or maybe I won't. Right, I'll give you an idea. Right, so what happens is we have a rocket, and the rocket has an inventory, and we have an inventory, right? So when the resupply, I'll let you see the resupply ship. There's a resupply ship, okay? When the resupply ship launches or comes back in, it basically sets a new set of resources, okay? So you can see the numbers change there, maybe you can't. And this is the ID for the player, because they can obviously go over here and they can't see what the rocket's doing, right? So what we do here is we hit this button, and this tells us what we have on the ship. And the point is to be able to buy and sell, okay? Now, this is going to be limited to when the actual rocket has landed, right? So you won't, so which is why you'll be able to need to see this, because you won't be able to trade while the spaceship is in orbit. You'll only be able to do it while it's on the planet, right? So the point at the moment is, the new thing here, we should be able to buy, or was it sell? Did we set up sell or was it buy? Let's have a look. Right, it's sell, okay? So the thing we're doing here now is we've got to give our player money when he sells something, right? So at the moment, if we look at the controller stores the money, except you won't be able to see it because I didn't make it viewable, right? So we're going to stop this, and then what we'll do is we shall refresh we'll write our other function, and we'll make it so that you can actually see the value going down, or sorry, the quantity in the inventory going down, the value in the ship going up, and the space credits going up, right? For when you sell it for space credits. Okay, so we've got to go in here, and then in our space credits we've got to make that viewable. So if we go back to our trading line, we've got our remove product from inventory, right? So we're going to run that after we change our space credits, right? We're getting our enumerator, which is set up in the button, so we've got easy access to that, and this is going to have another input, right, because we want the quantity as well. So basically we click on that, then we add an input, and this is going to be quantity, and this is going to be an integer. Then we're not going to have an output on this, right? So what we actually need to do here is we need to pull in our controller, get controller, then we need to do available, which is we get the product available. Now Jess, this is all for you. Product available is a list of products in an array, okay? Then we're going to loop through it, so we're going to do for each with break, because we're wanting to break out of this when we find the actual product, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to break our supply struct, which gives us an item and a quantity, and here's the item and here's the quantity that we're going to resolve it with. But the first thing we need to do is check that it's the right item, right? So basically we just say, is that item equal to this item, right? And then we basically do a branch for true or false, and we do that. And now when we do that, what we shall do is, because these are tied to this, we'll tidy that up. Then we'll bring this down a bit, tidy that up. That's looking better already. And now what we do is we basically you got yourself some guns, have you? Well, that'll be helpful for your playing around with arrays and structures and adding your meshes. Right, that's you killing my train of thought. Thank you very much. So, it's not really. With it, what we're doing is we're going to get this array again, because we're going to set an element in it. So basically we're just going to say set array element, which is that. We're going to bring this down again, keep it nice and tidy. We're going to do that, and the index is going to be this index, so we can just bring that straight across. Then we're going to make a struct, okay, And that struct is going to be this item, then this quantity minus this quantity here. So this can go here, then we can level it up. Then this quantity goes in here. Okay, now there's one more thing we need to do, which is to add it to the ship. So we're going to say save that, right? And then what we'll do is we'll test it to see if it's actually working. Right? So you'll notice here, inputs, player controller, we want default. We've got our space credits here, okay? So that's one of the things we're going to check. But we basically need our, there is our ship taken off. So basically we can actually do it just now. So I've got a new thing and I'm going to sell it. And you'll notice that my space credits have went up to 10. My space credits have went up to 110. It seems to be multiplying the wrong number here. That's okay. That's okay. But this part doesn't seem to be working. But I think that's because we're not refreshing the window. But we can have a look at that. Right, so back to here. So space credits equals that times that. Okay, so this is actually going to be, break that, and that's going to be we can, this is going to be a quantity, but for the moment we'll just make it 1. And then this is going to be a plus. And it's basically going to be that plus that. There we go. Move these two up out the way. We can change this as necessary. We can have different buttons or whatever for stacks of 5 or 10. Now we put a value of 1 in here. So we didn't actually change the quantity we had, so there's that. And then what we do for there is press play. And once our ship pops up here, we should be able to press bring up the widget, and it'll have some sort of a, well, not that it matters for the selling, to be honest. Okay, so if we're selling, this should immediately update, but it's not, because if we remember rightly, earlier on today we actually changed the way this worked. Right, so the trading lines are basically not being refreshed, so we need to go back to our trading main and we need to refresh this. Right, so let's have a look at our thing here. Okay, so what we'll do is we shall break this here and we shall turn this into a custom event of its own. Right, now what we're going to call this custom event, we'll call it create widgets. Right, and then here we're going to say create widgets, and then we're going to say set timer by function name and get this to run every 2 seconds. Okay, and this is create widgets. Let's see, that's running every 2 seconds and it's going to loop. So we're going to fill it in straight away and then we'll start with a loop. Now the thing here is we've got grid panel. Now we want to rename this because it's not a very good name, even though it's not. This is the VB lines thing, right? Now VB lines is the thing that it all gets added to. So we actually have to get VB all lines. And then can we clear children? Okay. So at the start of this, we're going to clear it all. And we can also test it, okay? So we can save that. And we should see it updating when in real time. So if I press it just now, we've got nothing. Now it is updating, but it's bringing 2 of these back and it's bringing 2 bauxites back and it's basically not clearing properly. Okay, that's cool. So this VB lines things is not doing what we want it to do, right? So that being the case, we can get all widgets of class, then we can say trading line. We can do that. Okay. Then we can do a for each. And then we can remove from parent. Okay, and then the complete is going to go in there. And then we're going to have to pull these along a bit. Then this is going to go up to here, which is fine. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'll agree, because I'm agreeable. So what we're doing is doing that, and we'll test again. We can hit 5. There we have our 1, and now we have lots of them for some reason. Okay. Oh, that's bizarre. But anyway. Okay. So we'll do that, and we'll try that. I don't think we want at all levels, right? And so if we press 5, it doesn't seem to be deleting these. Right, so there's something really weird going on here. There's definitely something weird going on here. Right, I tell you what, we'll do this slightly different. We're going to get the individual lines to update themselves. Right, so what we'll do is move that across there. Nah, there's something weird going on. It's obviously recalculating the inventory wrong or something. Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I shouldn't have done that. You're right, I should have debugged it. Right. What should have happened, what I should have done was this. Did that, and went across here and said clear. That was all rather stupid of me. I'm not being my best the last couple of days. I've been making stupid mistakes like this. Don't know what's going on, but anyway. It's a weird one. So we're going to go with that. And then we are going to put our thing back. So set timer by function name. Then this is going to be create widgets. Then it's going to be 2 seconds and looping, and there we go. Okay. Actually, you know what? I still think we still need to destroy all the widgets and get them back, because they're going to have to be reset. So the next thing is we need to get all widgets of class again. Widgets, get all widgets of class, then for each, then remove from parent, and we plug that into there, we plug that in there, we plug this in here, then we move it to the left a bit. I think we need it to the left a bit more. We'll straighten these up shortly. Right, so these all go in here. And that's basically it. It's too high, not that it matters, but right, that'll do. So we shall save that and play, and we should be in good shape now, I think. Press 5. That's all good. Once our ship comes up, we should see a lot more coming down here. Come on, little ship, on you come. There's the ship. And it's not refreshing. Well, that's a bit weird. And that's because I missed out an E, would you believe? So that's create widgets. Such a simple mistake can make things just not work. And that is still creating lots more widgets. And that's because I didn't select them. I'm making a lot of simple mistakes here. A lot of them. I'm losing my mojo, I think. Right, you see, that just should not be doing that. That should not be doing that. And I'm getting the feeling BB lines is fine. Right, so we should be clearing all these widgets, right? Is it because it's just top level? Let's check. It's an easy check to do first. Right, that's just not doing it. Yeah, I'm going to start debugging in a minute, but I'm trying to understand where the problem is to start with. It's more difficult to debug it when I've got so many loops going on. The clearing of the widgets is not the problem. I can guarantee you that. Right? So we're clearing the tradable items, which is fine. Then we're making up new ones, and then we're creating the ones for the ship, finally we're creating the lines. Okay. And then we create the widget again. So the first thing we're doing here is we're building items, which should clear this. Now, the interesting thing we're going to break it here, right? And then we're going to break it here and find out what the tradable items are at this point. So if we hit 5, so basically step over this and tradable items should be empty, which it is, right? And then if we resume that, tradable items, now that's correct as well. Which is fine. So we're going to press resume. Now the reason it doesn't bring up, now if you see that it has actually cleared them. And tradable items is now clear, which is right. We resume. And now we have our full list. Now the strange thing is, they were all set to 132 for some unknown reason. Right, so that's fine. It's going to clear it. Right, disable that. Resume. Don't know why it's setting these all to 132. This is absolutely weird as hell. Although I don't think it is actually setting them to 132. Well, how bizarre is that? It's actually working. And there's all the numbers changed. So I never changed a thing and it suddenly starts working. What? What is that all about? All I did was add breakpoints and then take them off and it worked. Unbelievable. Now, funnily enough, the whole point of this wasn't to do this, right? It was to do on the trading line thing when you actually bought and sold something. So that when these have been done, what we do is, am I going to have to do this? Yeah, I believe we are going to have to do this. Right, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to create a parent. I mean, we could use owner, but then we'd have to cast it. So we're not doing that. So what we'll do is just call it parent widget. Then instances will expose on spawn. And it's going to be of the type widget trading main. Okay, we shall save that. Then in trading main, when we actually create the widget, we shall refresh that. Now I'm a bit weird about this ref product list, right? I think that's a remnant from last night, but we're going to get a reference to self and we're going to plug that in there, right? And then in the trading line, when this is done, we just basically get our parent widget, drag it in, get it, then we create widgets, and that should update it straight away. Okay, so the excitement of this working or not is going to wait for 2.5 minutes till I go and have a cigarette. So I shall be back just shortly and we will continue. We are back and ready to give this a go. Let's see how this goes, shall we? So we can actually test it straight away. Oh, there we go. Now, the next part, of course, is to actually add it to the ship. Okay, so we remove the product from the inventory and then we inversely add it, add product to ship. save that, and again this is going to be product, and it's going to be e-item or enumerator. Then we're going to have a quantity, QTY, and that's going to be an integer, and we're not going to have a return value, so sort that. Right, so what we need to do is get our reference to our supply ship. Okay, then we're going to have to say supply, get supply, then for each loop okay, and we break the supply, then we compare it, and we compare it to the input product, and then we do a branch, and once we've done the branch we plug the condition in here, we loop on that, and then we get our supply again. Just, we could take the value from, drag out from there, but it's a bit tidier if you just do it that way, and set element. So this is us just setting an element in the array, and the element is going to come from the index from here, so that goes straight in there. We can drag both of these down a little bit just to keep it tidy. Okay, and we pull off here and we make the struct, and the item will be this, and the quantity is going to be this plus the quantity in. And that is it. Okay, tidy this up a bit, looks decent, happy with that, save that. This is called add product to ship, so we just say add product to ship, and we'll set this to 1 for the moment, and it's going to be our enum again, so we can just basically do that and then tidy it up and straight into reroute, save that, and we are good to go. So say that F5 sell, did that again, didn't it? Sell, sell, sell. Well, that's not so good. Okay. So I'm guessing that this doesn't actually have that item available. So if I add a breakpoint, right, and I press play again, okay, so it's adding, it's doing that. We can step into, we can have a look in here. It's not actually got but it has. Let's resume that. It does get to there. Right? And I didn't plug the quantity in. This is exactly the problem I had last night as well, but it didn't take me as long to find it tonight. But okay, so let's try this out. We shall hit the 5 button. And we shall take that breakpoint off. Resume. We shall take that breakpoint off. Resume. And there we go. Perfect. So we have that working. And if we look at our space credits, we have 80 space credits. Awesome. Awesome space credits. Right. So I think the next thing we're gonna have to do well, I think we should make it right, okay. So what I'm gonna do in the meantime is in our controller, just for a laugh, right? Let's make sure we've got the right event graph. Right, so we want the event tick, right? So this is all our little mucking around, getting things back and stuff. That's all cool and that, but we don't really need this anymore. But what we can do is we can get all widgets of class, right? And then this is going to be test widget. Okay. And we know there's only one, so it's fine. So actually, what we're going to say is copy. So we're going to get copy, and we're going to get copy 0 because we're quite happy with that. And then off of this, I'm pretty sure we get bauxite. This is just a text box. It's nothing to do with bauxite really. Certainly at this point, we can set text. Okay, and the text we're going to get is our space credits. Get space credits. right? And we're going to just plug that into text. So this is going to give us our space credits. And I'm going to show you at this point what we're going to do, or how this is going to work. So you'll see our space credits there is 0, and our space credits is 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, so we can have like somewhere else in the UI, we can have like a status with space credits and shit. And that's going to work lovely, but the main thing is here, right, that, okay, this is now the interesting part. Once it gets started, right, so what we can say is conveyors, then we can build a conveyor belt, right, we can join it to there. And this should give us copper ore. Okay. So when we actually come to sell stuff, we shall be able to sell it from our personal inventory. So if I now press 5, you'll notice that we have copper ore, right? And we can sell it. There we go. So that's kind of awesome. So I think one of the best ways I'm going to do this, I'm going to have a think about this. I'm going to end the stream in 5 minutes. So if you've been watching, enjoyed it, read the description. You'll see how to support me, as well as hit the subscribe button, I suppose. And I'm going to have a think about this, and I'm going to work on this tomorrow. So if you want to see more work, just keep following the streams, basically. I'm just going to work on this some more, of how I'm going to do the buttons, because I don't think the individual selling stuff is a good idea. I think I'm going to split it up so that you select an item and then like type in a number or click the buttons to go up and down, whether you're going to sell or buy, and then it will give you a price. And I think that's going to be the more way of doing it, rather than just like clicking that button up and down all the time. I don't think that's a very good way of doing it. So I'm going to have a think about it, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Good night.